everyone. So today I just wanted to record a short video about crying because when I was going through recovery and kind of for a lot of my life, I really didn't enjoy crying, and I would kind of do everything I could to stop myself because I had this idea in my head, and I think it's quite a common one, that crying is a sign of weakness, or that it shows that we can't cope with whatever it is we're going through or trying to deal with. And so, that was a very big belief of mine. And so when my body was trying to tell me to express those feelings that I had, and particularly through crying, I just wasn't really having any of it. And I would try and squash those feelings down until I thought they'd go away. But actually, if you think about it, it's a completely normal biological response to what is going on inside of us. And yet it's these kind of societal beliefs that we have that it's a bad thing. And I was thinking about the other day about, where did that idea even come from? I've never been kind of confronted by anyone when I've been crying and they've ordered me to stop, or kind of told me to my face that I am weak, or that I'm not capable. That's never happened. So actually, it kind of feels like we're keeping this belief alive in our minds, and maybe kind of passing it on to other people by not allowing ourselves to feel those feelings or to cry ourselves. So it kind of feels like it's time to maybe challenge that. One of the other beliefs that I had was that if I started crying, I wouldn't be able to stop. And so I just didn't want to even go there, because the idea of crying for the rest of my life felt pretty overwhelming. But the reality is that's just not true. And our bodies kind of run the show. They tell us what we need to do, and we just don't have enough water in our bodies. I think we'd become severely dehydrated if that was to happen. So it's kind of trusting that that's not the reality. But the other thing that I really resisted was just kind of allowing myself to feel some of those more difficult, or what we deem to be more difficult or unwelcome feelings, because it kind of felt like I was going to be opening this Pandora's box that I wouldn't be able to shut. But actually, like, the reality, and this is my experience since I have become more comfortable with feeling everything without judgment, is that actually, instead of having these big peaks and troughs of feeling super, super high and then super, super low, actually when we allow everything to be, when we allow all of our feelings in, it's like they kind of self-regulate. So actually it's more of a kind of a steady stream of different feelings, rather than these, as I say, these high highs and these low lows. Because ultimately, and I'm sure you've heard me share this quote before, but Glennon Doyle in her book Untamed says life isn't about feeling happy, it's about feeling everything. And that just, it was one of my favourite quotes, because it's so true. We have this idea that we have to be happy all the time, which is just not realistic. And actually, if we were happy all the time, we wouldn't appreciate it as much. So what happens when we start to change that and actually start to be okay with everything that comes our way, all those feelings, rather than putting up a barrier, and which then just creates more tension? Because like for me anyway, that's been a far more, I guess, enjoyable experience. And what often happens is that when we don't allow ourselves to feel or to cry or whatever it is our body needs to do, those feelings get trapped. In the book, a book called Burnout by Emily and Amelia Nagoski, they talk about the stress cycle and the importance of completing the stress cycle. And in their book, they list a whole load of different ways that you can do that. But essentially, they say that if we're not allowing those feelings and that energy, because feelings are energy, to find a way out, then they get trapped, and then that can have all sorts of different effects. It can cause physical pain, and that is something that I've personally experienced quite a lot, that I've had chronic pain for a long time, and I am certain that that is due to me at various points in my life not wanting to feel certain feelings. So they've kind of been buried away and are now trying to find a way out, or trying to attract my attention by causing pain. So when we start to allow everything to flow through us, and actually when we can welcome that whole spectrum of emotions and feelings, and allowing ourselves to cry when we need to, then actually I think a lot can shift. And like someone once said to me that when we're spring cleaning a house and we're kind of sorting everything out and going through everything, we have to take everything out the front door. And it's kind of what we do emotionally. It's like we're having this clean out, and then it has to go somewhere, and often that might be crying. So again, like kind of linking back to what I was just talking about with the stress cycle, it has to go somewhere, it needs to go somewhere in order to be released. And actually that is exactly what I feel when I cry, and I've learned to really enjoy it now, because it's this lifting of kind of heaviness that I've been carrying around. It's allowing those feelings to escape and be felt, which is what they're there for. So I'd love to know what you think, and I'd love you just to maybe consider what feelings maybe you are judging, or maybe you don't want to feel, that you're burying away. And actually, what might it be like to welcome everything and to embrace those tears and see that as just another human experience, rather than something that is loaded with judgment. Because I think once we start to let go of all of that stuff, we're freed. We are freed from the unhelpful stories that are causing us harm, essentially. So let me know what you think. Leave any comments below, and don't forget to subscribe. And we will be back soon with more videos.